Hi dear students, welcome to the educational program of Maulana Azad National Urdu University. I am Dr. Samad TV, Assistant Professor, Department of Education and Training. Today I am in front of you with a new topic, clauses. It is mainly for the students of B.Ed Semester 1. Paper Communicative English, Unit 1, Grammar and Phonetics. In this video, we are going to know what is a clause, what are the different types of clauses, how can we use different clauses in sentences. You can see a sentence on your screen. Let me read it out. I lost my umbrella. Here you can see one subject, that's I, and a predicate, that's lost. The sentence is complete and meaningful, and it does not depend on any other clause or any other thing. Now let me read out the second example, which is on the screen. I lost my umbrella, which has a green handle. Here in this example, the first part, that's I lost my umbrella, is complete and meaningful too. But what's about the second part, that's which has a green handle? Is it complete and independent by itself? Think a while. You just take the second part separately and think whether it is totally independent. Now you can see that this part as a whole describes the term umbrella, and only when it comes along with the first part it makes a complete meaning, right? Please look at the first example, that is I lost my umbrella, and the second example, I lost my umbrella, which has a green handle. Now you will definitely find a difference between the two clauses. These two types of clauses are known with different names. Let us see what are they. The first part is known as a main clause, principal clause, or independent clause. The second part is known as a subordinate clause or a dependent clause, as it depends on the main clause. Now let us see what is the definition of a main clause and a subordinate clause. Main clause is a clause which has a subject and a predicate of its own and does not depend on any other clause. Subordinate clause is a clause which has a subject and a predicate of its own and it depends on the main clause to make a complete sense. There are three types of clauses. The first one is adjective clause, the second one is adverb clause, and the third one is noun clause. Come on, let us know what are they. The first one is adjective clause. I am reading a novel which is very interesting. Here the first part, that's I am reading a novel, is the main clause because we see that it has a subject, that's I, and a predicate, that's reading a novel, and it is not depending on any other thing. The second part, that's which is very interesting. Even though it has a subject, that is which, and a predicate, that is very interesting, it is not totally independent. It depends on the main clause. So it is subordinate or dependent clause, right? Now you again look at the dependent clause. What's its function? Yes, you can see that it is describing the novel, it is qualifying the novel, it is speaking about the nature of the novel. So you can understand that the clause is doing the work of an adjective. So it is called an adjective clause. In the same way, you can think on the second example. Let me read it out. I talked to a friend who is in USA. Here the second part, who is in USA, is a dependent clause and it clearly describes or specifies the friend. From among many friends, it clearly denotes the friend who is in USA. This clause also does the work of an adjective, so it is called an adjective clause. In the same way, you can think on the third example. Let me read it out. We went on a trip which was really wonderful. Here the second part, which was really wonderful, is a dependent clause and it clearly describes the trip. Was it a good one, bad, dull, amazing, or a wonderful one? This clause also does the work of an adjective, and so it is called an adjective clause. The second one is adverb clause. Here you can see some sentences on the screen. Let me read the first one. The student stood up when the teacher entered the classroom. Here the first part, that's the student stood up, is the main clause, because we see that it has a subject, that students, and a predicate, that stood up, and it is not depending on any other thing. The second part, that's when the teacher entered the classroom. Even though it has a subject, that's teacher, and a predicate, that's entered the classroom, it is not totally independent. It depends on the main clause. So, it is subordinate or dependent clause, right. Now, you again look at the dependent clause. What is its function? Yes, you can see that it is describing the time. It tells us the time when the student stood up. So, you can understand that the clause is doing the work of an adverb of time. So, it is called an adverb clause. In the same way, you can think on the second example. Let me read it out. Wherever you go, I will follow you. Here, the second part, I will follow you, is an independent clause. The first part, that is wherever you go, is dependent clause. It clarifies the place where I will follow you. This clause also does the work of an adverb of place. So, it is also called an adverb clause. The same way you can think on the third example. Let me read it out. If you study well, you will pass the exam. Here the first part, if you study well, is a dependent clause and it puts forth a condition. Will you pass the exam anyway? No, it has a condition. What is the condition? You have to study well. This clause also does the work of an adverb of condition. So, it is also called an adverb clause. Here is another example. I can't attend the class because I am ill. Here, the first part, I can't attend the class, is an independent clause. The second part, because I am ill, is a dependent clause. It shows the reason or cause why you can't attend the class. This clause also does the work of an adverb of cause. So, it is also called an adverb clause. One more thing you can understand from the previous examples, that is you can state the adverb either before or after the main clause. So, you can say either the student stood up when the teacher entered the classroom, or when the teacher entered the classroom, the student stood up. In the same way, you can say wherever you go, I will follow you, or I will follow you wherever you go. If you study well, you will pass the exam. You will pass the exam if you study well. Both are correct. I can't attend the class because I am ill. Because I am ill, I can't attend the class. Both are correct. Whenever you call, I will come with you. I will come with you whenever you call. The third type is noun clause. Here you can see some sentences on the screen. Let me read the first one. That you study well pleases me. Here the clause that you study well is in the position of a subject in the sentence. Subjects are always noun or pronoun. Here this clause does the work of a noun. So, it is called a noun clause. Here is another example. He told me that he was ill. Here the clause that he was ill is in the position of an object of a transitive verb in this sentence. He told me what? He told me that he was ill. Objects are always noun or pronoun. Here this clause does the work of a noun. So, it is called a noun clause. Here is another example. Listen carefully to what I am saying. Here the clause what I am saying is in the position of an object of a preposition in this sentence. You must listen carefully to what? To what I am saying. Here this clause does the work of a noun. So, it is called a noun clause. Now, I hope you got the idea of clauses and you can make your own sentences with different clauses. Today we learn what's a clause, what are the different types of clauses, how the clauses are classified into different types based on their function, and how to use clauses in different situations. Dear students, for more details, you can contact on the given address. And also you can refer the following books. That's all for now. Let us meet again with a new topic. Thank you.